Good morning, guys. Mr. Parisi here. Today we're going to be talking about straight time pay. So the first thing you need to know about straight time pay is hey, how do I make money? Well, for most part-time jobs, you'll be making money based on your hourly rate. And that is just how much money you make for each hour that you work. So the more hours you work, the more money you make. Next vocab term is gross pay. This is the money you get before taxes come out of your paycheck. So the total amount of money you make before taxes come out. So that brings us to the two types of wages that we're going to talk about today. First is hourly. So that's your hourly rate or hourly employees. They get paid based on the hours they work. The other type is salary. So the example I'll give you for this would be like a professional athlete makes a salary of, let's say, $10 million a year. So it doesn't matter whether they show up early to work or stay late. They're still making that $10 million a year no matter what. The amount of time they work doesn't factor into it. So a couple problems now. Sarah works at Chuck E. Cheese. She worked 24 hours this week and made $7.85 per hour. What was her total pay for the week? So whenever we have an hourly rate, we really should just be thinking about it as an hourly rate. That's the first thing that determines how much we make. And then the hours worked is the other thing, because the longer we work, the more money we make. When we multiply those things together, it gets us our total pay. So all we have to do here is multiply. So 24 times my 785 should get a final answer of 188.4. Again, if we want to make it look like money, put that dollar sign in front, add a zero at the end, so we got two decimal places, $188.40. How many hours are in a typical work week? So for full-time work, that would be a 40-hour work week. So 40 hours, that could be 5 days at 8 hours each. It could be 4 days at 10 hours each, depending on what you do for a living. And then there are some jobs that don't require a full 40 hours. Some of them only require 36 to be considered full-time. But in general, we'll say 40 hours is a full-time work week. Question number 2, what's the current minimum wage in New York State? For fast food workers, it's actually up to $15 an hour right now. For other jobs, it could go as low as $9.70 per hour. And again, that's going to vary based on what job you're talking about. In general, servers and waiters and waitresses make less per hour because they also get tips that factor into their pay. So we can do a couple questions and then we will call it for the notes today. So please fill out the chart with the appropriate values. So again, we're figuring out the weekly wages for some of these people, or other ones we're working backwards, figuring out the hours worked or the hourly rate. So again, in that forward direction, if I'm talking about my hourly rate times my hours worked, that should give me my total pay. So for the first one, we're doing exactly that. So all I have to do is multiply 9 times 40. You're going to get $360 for the week. For the next three, however, you're working backwards. So instead of multiplying, notice that our missing number is in the first part of that equation. So we're working backwards. The opposite of multiplication is division. So we're going to take that 287.28 divided by 756. And you should get an answer of 38 hours. For the next one, again, we're working backwards. We'll divide 300 by 40, and you should get $7.50. Put that dollar sign in there, that decimal point, add that zero on there to make it look like money. And the next one, again, working backwards, 358 divided by 895. Get 40 hours worked. And the last person, Tiffany, you are just going to multiply, because they're giving us our hourly rate times our hours there. So you just got to multiply those two together to get our total pay for the week. Total pay for Tiffany is going to be $391.09. So all in all, pretty easy. It's just using your numbers, multiplying to find total pay, or dividing to work backwards to find your hours worked and your hourly rate. Okay, now what I want you to do for this last part is we're going to bring our weekly wages down from the chart above. So Jake made $360. Whoops. Jake made $360. Earl made $287.28. Brian made $300. Jessica made $358. And Tiffany made $391.09. How many weeks worked per year? Well, in a normal year, this is a number you're going to have to remember this year. In a year, there's always going to be 52 weeks. One of those numbers that you just got to remember: 52 weeks in a year, 12 months in a year, 365 days in a year. All good things to remember, okay? So if I wanted to know how much this person was making yearly, all I have to do, again, think mathematically. If I'm making $360 for Jake every single week and I'm getting paid that 52 times, all I got to do is multiply. So for these ones, all you have to do is go through and multiply. So I'm going to leave that to you, and I'll be sure to check that when you turn in your notes. So if you do this on a separate sheet of paper, make sure to take a picture and submit it on Google Classroom. If you're doing it on Kami, just make sure you hit turn in. Thank you, and have a great day, guys.